Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post another quick video here. This is basically going to kind of be like a part two of a that last recent finds video that I did. I kind of mentioned that there were some Japanese pressings and kind of a few, audiophile type of things that I was going to show in just kind of one separate video, and kind of got everything in. So I thought it'd be a good time to share it this afternoon. So what I'll do is I'll start with it's basically all Japanese pressings, but there's two half-speed masters in there and a couple of super disc as well. So maybe I'll show those four last. But before I jump into that, there's two quick things I want to share. I should have included this in my last VCLT thanks video, but a friend of mine just kind of gave me something I thought was really cool. My birthday was not too long ago, and she made this card for me, which I thought was really neat. She's into crafts and just being creative and all that good stuff. So she made this card, which I thought was really, really cool. As you can see there, kind of a record on the front. I mean, a card's starting off good when that's what you have back there on the lip, which was awesome. But what she ended up doing was, making a card that was more or less kind of a record. I mean, it's really kind of record sleeve and a record, which I thought was really awesome. So you can see there, it just says Brandon Special Edition. One of the things that I thought really was cool was she made the record label Take Flight Records is what the record label is, with a little airplane in the middle. Now, I don't know if any of you in the VC kind of know this, but if there's one thing that I probably love right at the point, or just as much as music and vinyl, it's airplanes. I'm a plane fanatic ever since I was a kid. I mean, I'm the guy that's like sitting on the side of the road watching planes take off at the airport. You take me to an air show, I'm absolutely losing my mind. I'm totally fascinated by airplanes. Watching an F-18, Super Hornet flying around the air show just turns me into like a 5-year-old kid. I just love it. So I thought that was just really cool that, she made the record label Take Flight Records. And then the card itself was just it's just not just but just, happy birthday, hope it rocks. Which I thought that was really, really cool. So yeah, that's so cool. I'm going to take this and kind of place it somewhere up in my music room. So I just thought that was really cool, really creative. And, definitely appreciate her kind of putting that together, and, really cool Christmas card there. And another card that she gave me as well, just another one here. It says, Just Like You. And there's a 45 record in there, as you can see. And of course, the 45 record is Tina Turner's The Best. So Just Like You, The Best. I thought that was kind of cool as well. So just want to kind of give a thanks to her for, sending those very cool cards over from my birthday. So let's just kind of dive into some of the Japanese pressings here. We'll start off with this one, which again, classic record you guys know all too well. Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. 2 LP set. It also has the 7-inch inside of there. And I think there was I was trying to remember if there was a poster or something that came in. I can't remember now. But yeah, just another fantastic piece. One of those records where I've always had a hard time finding an absolute mint copy with cover and records. The copy I have plays great, but it kind of had a few marks here or there. But yeah, to actually get not only just a fine mint copy, but a Japanese pressing as well of just one of Stevie Wonder's greatest works, in my opinion. This was one where I really kind of felt you saw his creativity all over the place. I mean, it was just like, I don't know, just again, marvelous album. Fantastic to finally have not only a beautiful pressing, but a Japanese pressing. Same thing with this. This is probably my really exciting score out of the bunch. Vanilla Fudge. Of course, you guys know this album as well. And I recently showed a copy, maybe a couple months ago, when I found pretty much a mint copy of this, which has taken me, it seems like, a long time to stumble across one. So I was so happy to have that, but then to find this one, and you talk about just playing as mint as a record can play. Sounds fantastic, great pressing. And so I went from not being able to find a perfect copy of this for, years and years, to having two perfect copies, and one being a Japanese pressing. So definitely very happy about that. But this was definitely one of the gems in this bunch that I just, could not wait to get my hands on. Another classic record here. Again, for me, another one that's been very hard to find in mint condition. I always find them with a tad bit of ring wear somewhere, and unless you wanted to buy a brand new one, which I kind of didn't. So yeah, again, to finally get this in my collection too. Classic Joel album. Everyone knows this, Piano Man, but it's just a nice one to have. As well as 52nd Street. Again, another album that everyone knows, songs like My Life and Big Shot, and just some more of that fun Joel stuff. One thing I would be curious about, because I'm still fairly, I guess, new, if you will, to the Japanese pressings and stuff like that. This one is a master sound, a DM, which is, I guess, digital mastering. I've never had one of these before, so I was just curious if maybe someone could tell me a little bit about, what that's all about. I just thought it was kind of interesting because when I received it, number one, it was a little bit thicker cover, and then it also had this kind of this sleeve that reminded me a lot of the MoFi sleeves. It seemed to be a little bit thicker on the vinyl, almost like 180-gram pressing. So I was just like, I don't know, I've never heard of this master sound thing. So yeah, so if someone knows a bit about that, I would love to kind of know what that pressing is about and all that good stuff. But this is kind of my first copy, the first time ever receiving one. All right, so let me get this back in here, along with the inserts, and then we will move on. But again, beautiful pressing. It sounded absolutely fantastic. So again, Billy Joel, 52nd Street. Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. Definitely a very, very underrated Aerosmith album. Probably no gigantic hits on this, which may be one of the reasons, but we talk about their just really good, pure early rock days. This album definitely captures that. So again, another great addition. Be curious of how many of you are familiar with this band or group. I know it's covered up there, but it's Ray, Goodman, and Brown. Self-titled. And where this album has significance to me is, I think it came out in 1979, I believe, 78 or 79, and the song Special Lady, which of course is my favorite song by them. I remember when my brother got his first boombox, and one of the very first tapes I ever remember him playing on that was Special Lady by Ray, Goodman, and Brown. And again, at the time, I'm like, 5, 6 years old, so they're talking about some of my earliest musical memories, and hearing him play that song over and over, it's just, even to this day, when I listen to it, the first place I go back to is him in that big silver boombox. I'll never forget that. I'm just like, play it again, play it again. It's just so awesome. So yeah, some great classic R&B stuff there for me. My boy, Neil Diamond, his Greatest Hits Volume 2. Again, I'm a huge Neil fan, fantastic entertainer, love him. And here you have stuff like Hello Again, You Don't Bring Me Flowers, which I actually kind of hate that song, but it's, it was a popular song for him. But, Love on the Rocks, that's the kind of stuff that I really like. So, or America, that's also on here as well. So yeah, great Neil stuff there. Let's see. Next, let's go to this one. Another one of the Japanese pressings that I've made a few bids on. I've been trying to get one for a while, and one just never quite came my way. But Sammy Hagar, VOA. Another record that means a lot to me in my early days of, getting into rock music and to actually start collecting physical music. It was during that time period where I didn't have a lot of money to buy a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I got Billy Idol's Rebel Yell for Christmas. I always tell that story. That was the first cassette I ever had that came out of a store. And I think Purple Rain might have been my second. I don't remember the second. It was either Purple Rain or it was Sammy Hagar's VOA. I don't remember which one it was, but there was a those were one of the 3 or 4 cassettes that I had, and I played them to death. And so this is one of those albums again that just every song I listen to just takes me back to that time period. But everyone knows I Can't Drive 55 off of this. But then songs like Swept Away, Two Sides of Love, Rock Is in My Blood. I mean, just an awesome freaking record. So Sammy just doing his Sammy thing. Little Foreigner. Agent Provocateur here. And again, just one of the classic albums from the 80s time period with Foreigner. So stuff, here you're dealing with That Was Yesterday. Great track. Of course, I Want to Know What Love Is. The one song that probably makes everybody still puke to this day. But I still like it. I don't care. Probably not one I can listen to often. But, to me, it's still a great song. Just kind of like Led Zeppelin 4. Fantastic classic rock album. I just can't listen to the freaking thing anymore. So, but yeah, great Foreigner album there. Even outside of those 2 songs, some great songs on that album. The classic Asia. Again, all you guys know this album inside and out too, but just nice to get a nice Japanese pressing of that. Of course, Heat of the Moment. Yeah, so I mean, just kind of a great album. Only Time Would Tell, of course, another big hit. And the boys, Huey Lewis and the News. This is Sports. Definitely a legendary album for them, of course. Whether it's The Heart of Rock and Roll, Heart and Soul, I Want a New Drug, If This Is It. I mean, again, just a lot of their big 80s hits and fame right there. So another great album to pick up. And this is one where, again, I don't care what anybody says. And you guys kind of know that about me anyway. I'll pick up any album that I actually like and claim it. But if you ask me right now to pull out 50 of my top albums in my entire collection, this is going to be right there at the top. Maybe even pushing top 25 or top 30. But Billy Ocean, Suddenly. And this album is just... And again, a lot of people maybe don't like Billy Ocean. This is kind of a cheesy 80 thing, which of course, it's easy to understand how he gets that label too with, Caribbean Queen, which is on here, Loverboy. Those were the 2 kind of big hits. And yeah, they got overplayed in that whole 80s shabam or whatever. But this is still just a freaking great album. And when you get into some of the B-side tracks like Mystery Lady and Syncopation, man, I could spin those 2 songs alone all day long. So this album is just one of my absolute faves. So again, to get a Japanese pressing of that was lovely, lovely, lovely. A little more R&B here. Smokey Robinson, Being With You. Again, definitely that big hit that he had from kind of his 80s time period, but yeah, great title track and some other good stuff on here as well. But I mean, Smokey's just a king, legendary. Had a chance to see him in concert once actually too, which was kind of nice. Took my mom to see him, and he tore it up because he's Smokey. Also had a chance to see this lady in concert one time, which is Tina Turner. And of course, this is Private Dancer, the classic album that really threw her into the stratosphere in the 80s. So What's Love Got to Do with It, of course, is on here. I Can't Stand the Rain, Private Dancer, Let's Stay Together, Better Be Good to Me. I mean, hit. So, really great stuff there. One of the funny things about that, too, is, What's Love Got to Do with It was one of her biggest hits almost ever, especially in her solo career. And yet it was the one song that she did not want to do at all, just one of those things. Which I always find it interesting when you have songs like that, What's Love Got to Do with It? Or if you look at Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are, hated the song, didn't want to do it, ended up being a total hit for him. Kind of the same thing there with Tina. And the Tom Club. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this band, they had a huge hit that was a really kind of an R&B hit back in the, I guess, late 70s, early 80s, called Genius of Love, which is kind of a legendary song from the R&B world. You know, it was on the charts for I don't know how long. And again, the thing that made it kind of unique is that the Tom Club was actually basically the musicians, you know, from the Talking Heads. It was just kind of a side project that they did. So, you know, when you think Talking Heads, you don't think funk, R&B, and the whole nine, but they were really into that stuff. So when they had a chance to work away from the Talking Heads, this is what they did, and it just made an absolute smash. Again, the song's called The Genius of Love. And as soon as you hear it, you'll probably be like, oh, yeah, I heard it a million times. I remember Mariah Carey sampled it for Fantasy, you know. But yeah, fantastic classic album. Again, one that takes me way back to my childhood, because again, when that song came out, it was just one of those everybody on the block in the neighborhood I grew up in before we moved to, you know, middle class America, if you will. It was one of those put your front speakers on your porch type of thing, because we all live in kind of this U project area, and that was just one of the songs that was constantly blasting off someone's porch. Genius of Love and Double Dutch Bus by Smith. Those two songs you were going to hear a few times every day. And last but not least, on the Japanese pressing side, this is one that I picked up at the record show the other day when Billy Hurst and I were out there. But Kenny Rogers, I definitely love Kenny. One of my favorite kind of, you know, older country musicians. Even though he kind of did a good job in a lot of cases of mixing kind of country and some soul type of stuff. And you can tell by the fact that, you know, like the work he did with Lionel Richie and some of the, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, great album here. Songs like, you know, We Got Tonight and a few other things as well. So great to always add a little bit of Kenny to the collection. Actually, I do have a sealed copy of this that I'm kind of replacing with this particular one. So if anyone's in dire need of some Kenny, you know, kind of let me know. And the last four are a couple different things. Number one, this is one of the half-speed masters I was telling you about, which is Journey. This is Dream After Dream. I believe this came out in 1980, I want to say. It was definitely early on, kind of right when Perry was coming into the group. So, of course, this was before, you know, Departure and all the stuff that, you know, through Journey to where they went. Which you can really kind of tell, too, because it's a cool album. They were definitely kind of playing around with some of their creative stuff. But the one thing that's always kind of thrown me off about this, and again, they didn't know yet because Journey hadn't become Journey, but there wasn't a lot of Steve Perry vocals on this album. And it's almost like, how can you make that much record with a guy like Steve Perry in your band, and yet you almost never hear him on the album? It's just a bunch of, like, a lot of instrumental stuff. Again, good album, but hindsight's, I guess, always kind of 20/20 too. But you know, nice half-speed master to find there, as well as a little ELO Discovery, another nice half-speed master to find. One of my favorite albums by them. So that was cool to find. And then two Nautilus Super Discs. Kind of going to the soft rock side here. Little Air Supply. Again, one of those bands that people like to knock, but, you know, screw that. I'm all about the 70s soft rock. Lost in Love. You know, absolutely love it. You have the song Lost in Love, All Out of Love. I mean, I don't know. Every Woman in the World. I love the soft rock stuff. You know, to me, it just takes you back to, even though I necessarily wasn't an adult at that time, it goes back to a place that felt good, you know, where everything wasn't so harsh and everything. Because sometimes you can just kind of, you can be chill and it's okay. And the very last one here, kind of the exact same thing. Of course, I can't stand this cover. Pablo Cruz, Lifeline. Same thing, another Nautilus Super Disc there that I was kind of happy to find. Kind of a strange little album. Again, kind of on the soft rock side. But, I don't know, like one of my favorite songs off of here is 0 to 60 in 5. kind of a really cool instrumental where they kind of start off, you know, a little bit mellow and kind of build it up, and it's just kind of a nice piece of music to listen to. I just wish that wasn't the cover. That just gets on my nerves. But I thought that New Orleans cover, or that Orleans, not New Orleans, that Orleans cover was bad, and these guys just took it to a whole nother level. But hey, Mr. Hall of Fame, I don't care. But anyway, so yeah, thanks for checking in, guys. Those are some of the additional pickups, and as always, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care.